come with me game hunting at Goodwill twice a week for a whole month in order to see if we can find anything worth actually picking up at Goodwill. So I checked out this end cap here, which is where they now store all their games. I'm not really interested in NBA 2K for the PS3, so I went to the next section there where I found a few Xbox 360 games, but they were pretty much just Connect games that no one was interested in. And then the Skylanders Giants game, which had a nasty spine, so I didn't grab that at all. Of course, what's a Goodwill without Wii Fit or Wii some kind of overproduced game that no one wants? Then I found a copy of The Sims on the PC, and I kept looking around here, but honestly, there wasn't anything in the game section. So I headed to the electronics section where I did find a Skylanders pad, but for $6, these are like a dime a dozen. And then I ended up finding this Tetris waffle maker, which was brand new for only $10, which is a pretty good deal. I ended up buying this for one of my friends. And last but not least here, I did end up finding this bag full of cars. And there was a Bowser Mario Kart car in here, but they wanted $6, so I just wasn't really interested in that. So for the first stop, we didn't find anything, but that's okay. We still got 7 more stops for this video, so let's go out for day 2. Which brings us to the same exact Goodwill store 3 days later, and honestly, I did what I always do, head right to the back. And the first thing that I found was Skylanders Trap Team for the Xbox One, which is worth a ton of money. I kept looking, but didn't find anything else in this section. Always check the discs. This is worth like $30 to $35, which is absolutely crazy. And then since I was here, I saw this Skylanders Giants that was disgusting, and I figured I could do a case swap. That's only $4, so I ended up grabbing that. That's worth around $12. But like I said, I kept looking here through, kind of trying to see if there's anything good. The same old games from earlier in the week, so nothing really there that was even worth it. I always look in the cases for discs, like I said earlier, but this was actually really worth it. And then I went to the next section where they ended up having a few more games here, and that is when I ended up finding Midnight Club Street Racing for the PlayStation 2. This is worth about $10, and I, of course, checked to see if the disc was there. No manual, but that is perfectly okay for me. And then I made my way to the electronics section where I found this Hyperkin Wii racing wheel, complete, still sealed, for $6. So you knew I absolutely had to grab that. I actually ended up with some decent finds here, starting off right off the bat. We got a game that's really valuable. This is worth like $30 to $35. For $3, I'm definitely going to grab that. Then I got this Skylanders Giants for the Xbox 360. And that spine is really nasty, so I'm definitely going to have to clean. I'm going to basically just case swap this and get rid of that or something. And then I've got Midnight Club Street Racing for the PlayStation 2. All of these games here were $3.99, which is totally worth it and awesome. But then I made my way to the electronics section and found a Wii racing wheel from Hyperkin. I know it's a knockoff, but I love to find things that are still sealed, especially from 10, 15 years ago. So I ended up grabbing this. This is from 2008, so when I saw this, I had to grab it. But what do you think? Week 1, day 2 turned out to be pretty good, but let's see what week 2 is going to provide us. To start week 2, I ended up going on Monday, and you know what I did. I went straight to the video game section, and lo and behold, they still have Wii Fit. I don't know how this is still here. I'm surprised no one's picked this up. Oh wait, that'll be here for a while. Then I found Sims here for the PC. I think it was Sims 3. Nothing anything really worth it, to be honest. Then at the bottom here, nothing. So I went to the next rack where they didn't have anything on it except at the very bottom, some Xbox 360 Connect games. This Just Dance 3 wasn't here last week, so that's cool to see. Then I ended up finding some PC games. an NHL game, a Sims game, and then I kind of kept looking here and there, and honestly, just nothing here, which is kind of a bummer. Again, I'm not looking for this 2K game, so I left that behind. I did go to the electronics section where I found an Atari flashback for $6, but it was missing the power cord, so I didn't risk it. I left this behind. And then I saw in this tote that they had a few controllers that looked like PS2 controllers, but they were both knockoffs. So I left those behind. And again, it seems like the first of the week we don't find stuff. So let's see if we can find something towards the end of the week. So I waited till Thursday and then I headed back into the Goodwill. You know what we're here for, video games. Again, some more games here that were not here before. PC game, but whatever. So I kept looking here and there, trying to see if there was anything worth picking up. But nothing really is popping up out at me here. Another new game, though, Just Dance 3 for the Wii. And then I went to this next section where I ended up finding a ton of video games. They had just put these out, which was absolutely awesome. I did end up getting a few of these here, but like, just look at this. We got some Sims games, we got some Battlefield games, some sports games, some Assassin's Creed. There's some pretty good stuff here. I ended up grabbing a few of these games. I wanted to grab more, but honestly, there weren't any other games that were interesting to me. Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock, you know I'm going to grab that one. So I kind of kept looking to see if there was any games kind of hidden away or where they were away from those games. But unfortunately, I didn't really find anything that was worth it. So I did go back up to the top. I ended up getting Mafia 2, Sports Champions 2, and that Guitar Hero game. Then I went to the next section where, surprisingly, I was kind of looking through here. I kind of was not expecting to find any games, but I ended up finding Infamous Second Son, which was pretty cool for the PS4. I don't actually have this game, so I'm not going to complain for $4. So I kept looking here and there, but I'm not looking for an NBA 2K game for the Xbox. So I checked all the discs. You know what we're doing here. Infamous Second Son, missing the manual, but that is perfectly fine. Then we've got Mafia 2 here. Everything was with this one. It was complete, which is cool. And then Sport Champions 2, which is a PlayStation Move game, was complete. But then tragedy struck. Guitar Hero 2 and a Guitar Hero 3 case. And I almost even dropped the thing. But I ended up putting this back just because it was the wrong disc. Kind of unfortunate. Then I went over to the electronics section, found the cheapest controller ever. Even a Minecraft lamp, which, again, I ended up buying this for my friend, which was pretty cool. It worked and everything was great there. Then I continued on through the aisle, and that's where I ended up finding this Halo Master Chief mask, which was pretty awesome as well for only $3. Definitely well worth picking up. But I was kind of surprised with all these games and a game mask, because 2 days, 3 days before, there wasn't anything. But we ended up getting some decent games. We got Sports Champions 2, which is worth about $12. We've got Mafia 2, which again is worth about $2. Both of these games are complete. And then we've got Infamous Second Son for the PS4. I don't have this game, and I figured for $4 I would pick this up as well. But kind of the coolest thing is this Halo Master Chief mask, which it is a kid's mask, but I think this will be cool, maybe on the shelf or something. But overall, today ended up being pretty good, and so far, 2 weeks in, we found like 5 or 6 games and some decent like accessories. So let's see what week 3 will bring us. Week 3 is where this whole thing changed and got insane here. This was a Tuesday. I wandered in. The Wii Fit is still here. We got some PC games here and there. An Xbox One game here, Ghost Recon. And then we've got Elden Scrolls Online. Neither one of these games are games I'm interested in, so I put those back right away. Then I kind of wandered around, looked through to see maybe if there was a game or two hidden, and honestly, kind of was looking like a bummer. But then I ended up finding this demo disc for the Xbox 360, and watching this back, I kind of wish I would have picked that up, but you'll see kind of why I was distracted in just a second and forgot to grab that. But I went to the second section where I was looking for games. Honestly, nothing crazy here. This Just Dance is still here almost 2 weeks later. That is a new Wii game though, so that is exciting to see. Again, Dance Central has been here for a while, and so has that Connect Adventures. But this is where things get insane. I ended up finding Final Fantasy VII complete for $4, and then right next to that, Tomb Raider complete for $4 for the PlayStation 1, which is just absolutely insane. Immediately, I had to look to see if everything was there. Tomb Raider had everything, and then I opened up Final Fantasy VII and looked through this, and lo and behold, it ended up having everything that came with it, which is just absolutely insane. Finding these at Goodwill just blew my mind, but honestly, this right here made this whole video and this whole kind of month long of Goodwill well worth it. First off, Tomb Raider, I know it has a crack on the case, but that's okay. These are really old cases. For $4, definitely well worth picking up. I am glad that I found this, but that's not the crazy part. This right here is absolutely wild that I ended up finding Final Fantasy VII, the Black Label, for $4 at Goodwill. This game right here is worth like $60, which is just insane to me. I don't actually have a Black Label. I have the greatest hits, so this will be staying with me. However, one weird thing is it says greatest hits on the edge here, so maybe this is like a piece together one, or maybe this was... I don't know what happened here, but overall, picking this up for this price is insane, and this definitely made going to Goodwill crazy. And this is the first week where we've gone and found something at the beginning of the week instead of at the end. So I think I got really lucky here, but let's continue on and see if we can find anything else. So I ended up waiting till Friday this week towards the end because, well, we hit on some bangers on Tuesday, but again, we're looking at some games here that we've seen, and it's looking pretty bare. Nothing new here. It's kind of a bummer, and this happens. This is one of those things that you just got to keep going. This, however, is a new game for the Wii called Bash Party, but honestly, I didn't find anything else, which I think is okay and kind of proves to you and me that just because you go to Goodwill doesn't mean you're always going to hit. Sometimes you're going to find some amazing things, which I did, but then other times you're just going to go in and not find anything at all. But we still got one more week left, so let's see what week 4 will give us. So I went back on Tuesday. I figured Friday was a bust, so let's give it a day or two extra and go on Tuesday instead of Monday. And honestly, it kind of didn't really help much. They did, however, rearrange, which they always rearrange this section like every week, which I think is weird. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but they do change this very often, which kind of is a good thing to me. But, you know, it wouldn't be a Goodwill trip without finding the same Xbox 360 Connect games. But here you're seeing I'm not finding anything else. I thought this was a new game, but this is one we've seen a few times. I don't know what happened to it, but it's back on the shelf now. I kind of kept looking, but honestly, there wasn't anything here that was even worth it. So I went to the electronics section where I ended up finding this PlayStation Guitar Hero guitar. This is the Les Paul. It was missing the battery compartment, and it looked like there was some acid, but for $5.99, I figured I'd get this and try it out. Again, still some Skylander stuff wandering around. I looked around some more, but all I ended up finding was this weird Mario Kart gate, and I don't really know what it's for, so if you do, comment down below and let me know. But I did end up getting this Guitar Hero guitar. Like I said, this was only $5.99, which I think is worth it. But if you do look at the back here, it looks like there was some rust and corrosion. So I'm going to have to try and clean that up and see if I can get this working. So that makes me kind of wish I would have passed on this. But then again, for $6, I figured at least I'd grab this and see if I could find anything, because I didn't find anything else at this Goodwill. But this is the last time for this video that we went to Goodwill, and I think this may have been the best find this whole month, but let's get into it. First off, again, Guitar Hero 3 here. I saw it, and of course, you know, I had to check to make sure that this was the same one, and it was the one with the Guitar Hero 2 disc in it, so I left that behind. Kind of wandered through here, but wasn't really finding much. This Sims for the PC has been here for a little bit, but honestly, there wasn't anything really worth it here, so I ended up heading back to the electronics section. Then I went to the plus section, where I found some amazing stuff. Starting off with this Bulbasaur, and then right behind it was a Build-A-Bear Pikachu. For $5, this was definitely going home with me. And then right next to this was this huge Kirby Link plush, but it was absolutely crazy. Then I found this weird Wii wheel that like suction cups to a table. I don't know about this. If it's still there, should I get this or should I pass on it? Then in the glass case at the front, they had an Xbox 360 Slim, the glossy one, for $60. So, of course, you know what I did. I bought it. And then I went out to my car, and I could not believe I bought all of this stuff. All these plushes were totally awesome. That Kirby one, that Bulbasaur one, even Pikachu. And then down below that was an Xbox 360. This was just an absolutely wild haul to finish this off. But I think it's time we check out everything that I got, because this bag is full of stuff. I'm going to try not to drop it. Starting off, you guys saw this huge Kirby. This thing is awesome. I didn't notice it when I was there, but there is a little hole there, but I think I can sew that up and fix it. So that's totally awesome. And then I ended up finding the Pikachu from Build-A-Bear. I've got a ton of these Pikachu ones, but I'm still looking for like the Bowser one and a few others that are pretty awesome. This is cool to see, but I've got a ton of them. And then last but not least is this derpy looking Bulbasaur for only $2. I don't know if this is like a real Bulbasaur from Pokemon or not, but he looks so ridiculous. I just had to buy him. And then last but not least was this Xbox 360 for $51. This was definitely interesting to me. And then they also had the power cable here. So I'm going to have to plug this in and see if it works. So I'll be back in just a second. But before we test this thing out, we've got to plug it in and see if there is a disc in it. But it seems to be not working. That's kind of a bummer. Let's see. Let's see if I can. It comes on for a split second and then turns right off. Ooh, this is 250. Oh, this is nasty. 250 gig hard drive in there. But I can't seem to get it to turn on, which is kind of a bummer. And I know that sucks, but at least I could take this back to Goodwill if I can't get it working in the next 7 days. So we at least have that going for us. But every time I turn it on, this light turns red, which is probably not a good thing. But I'll mess with this a bit and see if I can figure out. Oh, I thought I had it there. It must be tripping a breaker or something. So that's kind of a bummer, and sounds like I might be returning this to Goodwill. But either way, from the plushies that were just insane to all the games we ended up finding, this Goodwill actually ended up having some good stuff. Obviously, this is the craziest, but we still have a nice little stack of games here for the month, as well as a racing wheel. Unfortunately, this Xbox 360 is going to have to go back, but overall, I feel like this month of game hunting, 4 weeks full of 2 stops a week, I ended up finding some good stuff, and I'm definitely happy about it. But what do you think? Do you think this was worth going to Goodwill this much in a month, or would you have passed on it? I don't know what you think, but I feel pretty happy about it. So comment down below and let me know. But I think I'm going to get out of here because I got to go wash my hands because this Xbox 360 is nasty and has definitely seen better days. So check that video out up there if you haven't already. But I think we all know what my favorite pickup of the month was. But I want to know yours. So comment down below and let me know. But I'm getting out of here. So check out that video out if you haven't already.